Deb Runyon has been a bartender, calligrapher, carving, court reporter, editor, graphic artist, poet, still remains, vacuum cleaner technician, and waitress, although not in alphabetical order. Currently, she lives in Como with her 2 sons, 2 daughters, and a husband who's grateful she's found a new venue for her attention to detail. This is what we've done.
This is a fitting place to read my first story because I used to come all the time when I was a kid, walk over from Como and go home with a big pile of books when it was safe to do so, or when, back in the day. Circus Girls. I could not read the book I brought along. In front of me were a dozen circus art classes, each made up of 4 to 10 kids between the ages of 6 and 21, practicing for their spring show. I had joined the parent viewing area to watch my son practice at the Circus Juventus Big Top in Hamline Park. I tried to act like the other parents. Sure, some glanced up from time to time, but most were buried in their laptops, books, and cell phones. I tried to read, but found myself reading the same paragraph over and over. Look at that tiny child, that blur of leotard and toes flipping and flying through the air, landing in a perfect stance. And that one, skipping so gracefully up the Spanish web. The girls on the hoops are rotating in unison. One child gets a gentle correction from the coach from Mongolia. The jugglers are throwing and catching and missing and laughing and setting themselves serious again. My arms hurt from my imagined climb up the Spanish web. I was mesmerized watching the tumblers twist and vault through the air. I felt an adrenaline rush as the bungee jumpers fell from the rigging to somersault back to the trapeze. I was breathless when the boy in low casting reached for the trapeze coming at him and missed, falling into the fluffy stack of mats below him. I went home exhausted and elated. So I joined the circus. I found out there was an adult class and talked my 40-something friend into joining the 50-something me. It will be so much fun, I told her. I was surprised when, no, we wouldn't have our very own private session. Instead, we joined swarms of willing children and their coaches from all over the globe. My friend glared at me, and I gave her an, I guess I should have checked it out, shrug when we saw the others in our class. Most were in their 20s. We can do this, I whispered. Feeling self-conscious in our semi-leotard and sweatpants ensemble, I glanced at the parent viewing area, where heads were buried in laptops, books, and cell phones. Yay! As soon as we figured out we didn't have to go as far or as fast or as often as our contemporaries, we settled into enjoying ourselves. Each session brought a new circus art to try out. I desperately tried to fill the gracefulness I had witnessed from the galley when I finally hoisted myself onto the poop. All I felt was dizzy. "Stop twirling me," I cried. "Open your eyes," called the coach from Moscow. Somehow I managed to climb up the Spanish web, clinging to prickly twine that was unforgiving, scared to let go. My attempt at low casting took many tries and falls on that not-so-fluffy mat before I grabbed hold of the trapeze. The silks were way too slippery and much harder to climb than they appeared. The bungee jump was exhilarating, but I never could pull myself back onto the trapeze, so I just bounced and somersaulted. Not one of us pedaled that unicycle. Each week, my brave friend and I dragged our still sore from the previous week bodies back to the big top. The smell of sweaty socks, the sound of giggles and groans, and the sight of parents nestled into their own projects. My triumph came the week I finally did a cartwheel on the tumble track. I was thrilled, never having cartwheeled as a kid. I didn't care if the parents noticed.